Laughter in the council. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council was alive with voices, glowing lights, and endless whispers. Hundreds of alien delegates sat in their seats, their strange bodies shifting and shining under the ceiling of crystal stars. Every race had come not for a treaty or war settlement, but for something far more amusing: the humans. On the wide central screen floated the image of a massive warship. Its shape was plain, heavy, and slow. Its hull looked thick and clumsy, its engines glowing faintly compared to the sleek, fast ships of other species. "This?" the Saracen delegate hissed, his scaled body shaking with laughter. "This is humanity's new fleet? This lump of iron?" The chamber erupted with mocking laughter. Bioluminescent aliens flashed colors of ridicule. Feathered beings shook their crests in amusement. Even the normally silent Vayari, beings of living gas, rippled with faint chuckles. The humans had called it the Titan-class warship, but to the Council, it looked more like a coffin drifting through space. "They build a rock and call it a blade," sneered the Zorn representative, his four mouths snapping open and shut. "Do they think slow and heavy can survive in the stars? What fools!" Another voice, sharp and cruel, joined in. "Their ship cannot even outrun a miner's shuttle. It moves like a dying whale. Why waste resources on this failure?" The laughter grew louder, echoing across the chamber. It was not just mockery, it was humiliation. Humanity, the youngest member of the Council, had tried to prove themselves, and instead they had given every race a reason to laugh. But in one corner of the chamber, the human representative sat quietly. A tall officer in a dark uniform, his face calm, his eyes sharp, his jaw set. He did not laugh, he did not argue. He simply watched the aliens, letting their laughter fill the air. This silence made some uneasy. The Kelnari archivist, an old and wise species, leaned toward his aides. "Be careful," he whispered. "Humans rarely laugh when others mock them. They watch, they wait." But his warning was ignored. One by one, alien delegates rose, their words dripping with pride and scorn. "The humans are a danger to themselves. They build weapons without understanding. Their designs are childish, slow and crude. Perhaps we should ban them from shipyards before they embarrass us all." The human officer finally rose to his feet. His movement was calm, deliberate. The laughter softened as thousands of eyes turned toward him. He spoke softly, his voice carrying across the chamber. "You mock our ship because it is slow, because it does not shine like your cruisers, because it does not dance like your fighters. You think speed is everything?" a Saracen delegate hissed. "Yes, in war, speed is survival." The human gave a thin smile. "And yet, speed is nothing if you cannot survive a single strike." The chamber grew quiet. The officer's words were simple, but they carried weight. He did not raise his voice, but the calm certainty in his tone unsettled even the boldest of aliens. He looked around the hall, meeting the eyes, or the glowing lenses, of every delegate. "You may laugh at the Titan. Call it slow, call it heavy. Call it foolish, but remember this. Humanity does not build toys. We build weapons, and when we strike, we do not need to strike twice." The silence that followed was heavy. For a moment, no one laughed. Even the Vayari dimmed their glow. The council chamber seemed colder, the stars above the ceiling dimmer. Then, as if trying to break the unease, the Saracen delegate hissed again. "Empty words. The galaxy will see your Titan fall before it ever rises." The laughter returned, but it was not as loud, not as free. In the corners of the chamber, doubt had begun to grow. The human officer gave no reply. He simply turned, his boots echoing against the polished floor as he left the chamber. And as the great doors closed behind him, one thought lingered in the minds of those who had mocked. If the Titan was truly weak, why had the humans smiled when they were mocked? The heavy beast moves. The Titan-class warship left Earth's orbit in silence. Its enormous bulk moved slowly through the black sky, each burn of its engines rumbling like thunder. From the ground, millions of humans watched it rise, their faces filled with pride. To them, it was not a failure. It was a promise. But to the galaxy, it was a joke. Alien scouts followed at a safe distance, their ships dancing around the Titan like birds mocking a whale. They sent live transmissions back to their governments, laughing openly as they circled the giant vessel. "Look at it crawl," one Sarican pilot hissed, his voice sharp with amusement. "I could race it backwards and still win." Another voice from a Vayari scout ship rippled with mockery. "This is humanity's pride? A ship that moves slower than a mining rig?" The feed spread fast, showing the Titan moving across the stars at its heavy pace. Across the galaxy, millions laughed again. Memes, songs, and mocking broadcasts filled the entertainment waves. The Titan was not seen as a threat, it was seen as a clown. Yet inside the ship, the crew was silent. On the command bridge, Captain Rhys Hale stood tall. His uniform was simple, his hands clasped behind his back as he watched the starfield crawl across the main screen. Around him, officers worked quietly, their faces calm, their eyes steady. They heard the alien mockery. They saw the endless streams of laughter. But none of them cared. One young ensign finally broke the silence. "Captain, permission to speak freely?" "Granted," Rhys replied without turning his gaze. The ensign hesitated, then spoke. "Why don't we respond to them? Everyone out there thinks we are weak. The Council mocks us. Even pirates laugh when they see our ship. Shouldn't we defend our honor?" Rhys finally turned, his sharp eyes meeting the ensign's. His voice was calm, almost cold. "Do you strike a child when they call you names? Do you fear a dog barking at your heels?" The ensign flushed, embarrassed. "No, sir." "Then remember," Rhys said softly, "let them laugh. It is easier to strike when your enemy thinks you are foolish." The bridge fell silent again. The crew understood. Outside, alien scouts grew bolder. Some flew dangerously close to the Titan's hull, scanning its weapons and armor. They mocked its outdated cannons, its lack of speed boosters, its sluggish turns, but they did not notice the hidden ports sealed along its sides. They did not hear the deep hum of energy building inside its core. They saw only what humans wanted them to see: a slow, clumsy beast. In the council chambers, the debates grew loud. "This ship is useless," barked a Zorn delegate. "It cannot fight. It cannot chase. Why should we fear it?" The Sarican delegate hissed with laughter. "Perhaps the humans finally admit what they are: slow, primitive, and fragile." Only the Kelnari archivist spoke with caution. "You are all blind. Humanity does not waste effort. If they built this ship, then its purpose is hidden. I fear we will not like the answer when it comes." But his warning was drowned in more laughter. Back in space, the Titan continued its slow path toward the designated trial zone, where mock exercises were scheduled. Alien fleets were already gathering, eager to watch the lumbering coffin stumble. Some even planned to record the battle for public amusement. On the Titan's bridge, Captain Rhys watched the enemy fleets forming ahead. His lips curved into the faintest smile. "They still do not understand," he murmured. The ship groaned as its engines slowed. Lights dimmed, systems locked. To the watching aliens, it looked like the Titan was struggling just to move forward. But deep inside its core, energy coils burned brighter, hidden chambers prepared, and weapons long concealed stirred awake. The beast was not slow. It was patient, and soon, the galaxy would learn the difference. Alien confidence. The Titan moved slowly, toward the trial zone, its black hull glowing faintly against the stars. Around it, dozens of alien ships circled like predators playing with their prey. The galaxy was watching. Every major network carried the broadcast. The humans had agreed to a demonstration battle, and the aliens were eager to humiliate them. On a wide orbital platform nearby, fleets from multiple species waited in formation. Their sleek cruisers and shining destroyers reflected light like blades. Their engines burned bright, fast, and sharp. Compared to them, the Titan looked ancient, heavy, and hopelessly slow. The Surican commander sneered as he addressed his fleet. You see it? The humans bring a coffin and they expect us to fear it. Today, we will remind them of their place. Record every second. Let the galaxy laugh with us. Laughter rippled through the comms. Pilots joked, mocking the humans in every possible way. It looks like it was built in a scrapyard. I could race it with one engine and still win. Does it even carry weapons, or is it just a giant shield? Even council delegates, watching from afar, joined in the mockery. For them, this was not just a battle. It was entertainment. Humanity had dared to present their Titan-class warship, and now the Council would tear its reputation apart. But on the Titan's bridge, silence ruled. Captain Reese Hale stood with his hands behind his back, eyes fixed on the main display. His crew waited calmly, ignoring the waves of laughter filling their channels. To them, the insults meant nothing. A message flashed across the bridge, a challenge issued by the alien fleet commander. Human captain, let us make this official. Your ship against ours. We will not destroy you completely, only disable your vessel for all to see. Do you accept? The bridge crew glanced at their captain. His expression never changed. Transmit acceptance, Reese said quietly. The crew obeyed. Seconds later, the alien commander's laughter boomed across every open frequency. Then let the galaxy witness the folly of Earth. Cheers erupted from alien ships, their weapons powering up, their engines flaring bright. They believed the humans had sealed their own humiliation. Inside the council chamber, delegates leaned forward eagerly. The Surican delegates' scales shimmered with smug triumph. The Zorn representatives' four mouths snapped open and shut in excitement. Even the usually reserved Vayari pulsed with amusement. Only the Kelnari archivist sat still, his ancient eyes fixed on the Titan's image. They are too calm, he whispered to no one in particular. Too patient. Humanity has teeth hidden beneath their silence. But again his warning went unheard. Back in the trial zone, the alien fleet spread out in a wide circle, surrounding the Titan. Their ships darted into position with speed and grace, leaving long trails of light across the dark void. To the watchers, it was beautiful, an elegant show of superiority. Meanwhile, the Titan sat still, its engines barely glowing. It looked like a beast too tired to move, waiting for the slaughter. The alien commander's voice echoed once more. Prepare yourself, human. The galaxy will remember this as the day your so-called Titan was broken before it even lived. On the Titan's bridge, Captain Reese spoke softly to his crew. Remember your training. Do not rush. Let them come. The crew nodded, hands steady on their controls. The ship hummed faintly as deep systems stirred awake, hidden beneath its thick armor. Energy flowed into secret channels. Weapons unseen by any alien eye prepared in silence. But outside, no one saw it. To the galaxy, the Titan still looked like nothing more than a slow, heavy relic. The alien commander raised his hand. Begin. The first wave of alien cruisers shot forward, weapons glowing, laughter echoing across the stars. They were certain of victory. And on the Titan's bridge, Reese whispered under his breath, his eyes cold, "Let them laugh. For the last time." The trap unfolds. The alien fleet surged forward, their engines flaring bright, their weapons glowing like suns. Streams of plasma fire and energy beams lit up the darkness as they aimed at the Titan. The galaxy leaned forward, ready to watch the humans fall. But the Titan did not move. It simply waited, silent and heavy, as the first barrage struck. Blinding explosions covered its hull. The alien fleets roared with triumph, certain the battle was already won. Then the light cleared. The Titan still stood. Its hull glowed faintly, but no damage marked its surface. The thick armor had absorbed everything, the energy shields bending, the blasts away. What should have torn any cruiser apart had barely scratched the beast. The alien commander snarled, shocked. "Increase firepower. Break it open." More ships joined in, surrounding the Titan from all sides, hammering it with weapons. The void shook with explosions, the light so bright it looked like a star had ignited. But when the flames faded, the Titan remained, dark, silent, and unbroken. On the bridge, Captain Reese Hale's voice was calm. Shields holding, armor at 99%, all systems green. The crew reported back with steady voices. There was no panic, no fear, only patience. Finally, Reese gave the order. His eyes narrowed, his voice sharp. Activate the first array. Along the Titan's sides, massive panels shifted with a deep metallic groan. From beneath the thick armor, ports opened, revealing enormous cannons hidden until now. Energy pulsed through them, blue fire gathering like storms ready to break. The alien scouts froze. Their laughter turned to silence. What is that? One pilot stammered. The cannons fired. Beams of energy, wider than alien cruisers, tore through the void. The first alien ships vaporized instantly, their sleek hulls vanishing in bursts of fire. Whole formations broke apart, screaming in panic as the Titan's weapons struck again and again. The galaxy gasped. This was not slow. This was not weak. This was annihilation. Alien commanders shouted frantic orders. Scatter! Scatter now! But it was too late. The Titan's second array activated. Hidden missile bays opened across its belly, releasing swarms of projectiles. These were not simple explosives. They carried warheads designed to pierce shields and split ships apart. The missiles curved through space, intelligent and merciless. Alien destroyers tried to dodge. Some succeeded, for a moment. Then the warheads, adjusted mid-flight, chasing them down like predators until they exploded in perfect strikes. Within minutes, dozens of alien ships were gone. The trial zone had turned into a graveyard. On the Titan's bridge, the crew worked with precision. No one celebrated, no one smiled. This was not pride, it was duty. Array 1 recharging. Missile swarm deployed. Targets destroyed. 27. Captain Reese stood steady, his voice calm. Proceed with secondary systems. From the Titan's hull, new weapons emerged. Rail cannons, their barrels stretching like titanic spears. They fired chunks of metal at near-light speeds, slamming into enemy cruisers with such force that shields collapsed instantly, hulls shattering, apart in silence before exploding into fire. The aliens, once mocking, now screamed in terror. Their elegant, fast ships were nothing against the Titan storm. On the council broadcast, the laughter had vanished. Delegates sat frozen, their eyes wide, their bodies trembling. The Sarican delegate, who had led the Mockery, could only hiss, in disbelief. They hid all this inside? The Kelnari archivist whispered what everyone now feared. It was never meant to chase. It was never meant to run. This ship was built for one purpose, to endure the storm, and then end. Back in the trial zone, the alien commander shouted in desperation. Retreat! Retreat now! But the Titan had already locked its final weapon, a massive cannon at its core charged, glowing brighter than a star. The energy gathered until the void itself seemed to tremble. Captain Reese raised his hand. His voice was steady. Final. Fire. The cannon unleashed a single shot. A beam of pure destruction cut across the battlefield, slicing through 3 enemy capital ships in one strike. Their explosions lit the void like dying suns. Silence followed. The survivors fled, their ships scattering like frightened birds. The Titan did not chase. It simply watched them run, its weapons glowing faintly in the dark, and for the first time, the galaxy understood. The slow warship was not a failure. It was a trap. The first strike. The battlefield was silent now. Where moments ago hundreds of alien ships had danced and mocked, only wreckage remained. Twisted metal drifted slowly in the void, glowing with fire from broken reactors. The Titan did not chase the fleeing survivors. It did not rush to finish them. It only stood in the dark, its weapons cooling, its hull glowing faintly with the power still building inside. On the Council's live broadcast, billions across the galaxy sat in stunned silence. What had been expected to be a comedy had turned into a massacre. The slow warship, once ridiculed as a floating coffin, had torn through fleets in minutes. The Sarican commander, who had mocked the loudest, slammed his claws against his console. "This is impossible. Their ship cannot do this. It is too heavy, too clumsy." But the proof was right before his eyes. On the Titan's bridge, Captain Reese Hale stood calmly. His crew reported the outcome with steady voices. Enemy ships destroyed, 62. Survivors retreating, 19. Collateral damage minimal. Reese nodded once. "Transmit the message." Across the wreckage-filled void, a human signal spread to every frequency the fleeing aliens used. The voice of Captain Reese echoed calm and cold. "You mocked our ship, you called it weak. But we do not build for your approval. Humanity builds for survival, and when we strike once." The words chilled every alien pilot who heard them. Even as they fled, their hands shook, their hearts filled with fear. They had thought humanity weak, but now they knew the truth. The humans had prepared for this moment from the beginning. The galaxy had witnessed the first strike. In the council chambers, chaos erupted. Delegates shouted over one another, their voices filled with panic. "We must ban human fleets immediately." "No, we must negotiate before they destroy more." They have broken every balance we know, but none of them could deny what had happened. The Titan had not only survived, it had dominated. The Kelnari archivist rose slowly, his old voice heavy with warning. "Do you see now? You laughed at them, but laughter is not armor. You mock their slowness, but speed is nothing against endurance. They have shown you the first strike. The second will be worse." Back on the Titan, the crew watched as alien ships vanished into hyperspace trails. The battlefield was theirs, but there was no celebration. Humans did not cheer. They only prepared. In the lower decks, engineers checked the weapon cores, their hands moving quickly across glowing panels. Soldiers stood in training bays, their rifles ready, their eyes cold. Families on Earth watched the broadcasts, pride burning in their hearts. Humanity had been mocked for centuries, treated as primitive, fragile, weak. But today, the galaxy had seen what Earth was truly capable of. Captain Reese walked across the bridge, his boots echoing softly. He looked at the wreckage on the screen, ships that had once called humans slow. "They thought they could humiliate us," he said quietly. "Now they will remember this day for the rest of their lives." "Captain," an officer asked, softly, "what is our next move?" Reese paused, his eyes narrowing. "We don't need to chase them. Fear will carry our name faster than any ship. But when the Council dares to test us again, we will strike harder, and they will finally understand what the Titan was built for." The officer nodded, his face pale but steady. Across the stars, rumors spread faster than fire. Survivors told wild stories, some true, some exaggerated. They spoke of weapons that cut through shields like paper, of missiles that chased ships until they exploded, of cannons that could tear whole fleets apart with one shot. Some even whispered that the Titan's core weapon was strong enough to crack a planet. Fear grew in every corner of the galaxy. The first strike was not just a battle, it was a warning. Humanity had shown what happened when they were mocked. And the message was clear. There would be no second chances. Fear in the stars, the wreckage of the Council's proud fleet still floated in the trial zone when fear began to spread. News traveled faster than any ship. Survivors who escaped the Titan carried their terror back to their homeworlds, their voices trembling as they told what they had seen. "They didn't even move fast," one Sarican pilot whispered on a broadcast, his scales pale with fear. "They didn't need to. Their ship took everything we had, and then destroyed us with one strike." Across the galaxy, ordinary citizens listened and shivered. The image of the Titan became a shadow in every conversation. Some swore its cannons could shatter moons. Others claimed it carried a weapon that could collapse suns. None knew the truth, and that made the fear worse. Markets crashed on border worlds. Merchants refused to send ships near human space. Miners abandoned asteroid fields, too afraid to be caught in the path of the Black Giant. Even pirates who once mocked humanity began to whisper warnings to one another. Do not touch a human convoy. Do not go near their routes. The Titan watches. The council chambers panic-burned. Delegates shouted through the hall, their voices desperate. We must unite our fleets. No, we must demand humanity dismantle this monster. They should be banned from every star. But every plan fell apart. No fleet wanted to face the Titan after what had happened. No commander wanted to be the next to lose hundreds of ships in minutes. Only the Kelnari archivist spoke calmly, though his words chilled the room. This is what you earned. You mocked them. You laughed while they prepared. And now fear is your punishment. You cannot erase the Titan. It already lives in your people's minds. The Saracen delegate slammed his claws against the table. We are thousands of worlds, they are one, they cannot rule us. Yet his voice shook as he spoke. Meanwhile, in the shadows of space, rumors multiplied. Traders swore they had seen other human warships moving quietly between stars, smaller than the Titan, but armed with the same hidden weapons. Some whispered that Earth had built an entire fleet of monsters, each one waiting for its moment. On the outer colonies, alien citizens began to question the Council's rule. They promised us protection, one miner spat, staring at the newsfeed. But the humans destroyed 3 fleets in minutes. Where was the Council's power then? Whispers of rebellion spread. Some worlds secretly sent messages into the void, hoping to contact the humans. None received a reply, but that silence only made humanity seem more powerful. Inside the Titan, Captain Reese Hale stood in the command center, listening as his officers reported intercepted broadcasts. His face remained calm, unreadable. The Saracen are calling us a threat to the galaxy, one officer said. The Vayari are holding emergency drills, another reported. Dozens of colonies are asking for our protection instead of the Council's, a third added. Reese simply nodded. Fear moves faster than any engine. Let it spread. The more they imagine, the less we need to show. The crew exchanged glances, but said nothing. They understood. Humanity did not need to conquer planets to change the galaxy. They only needed to plant fear in the stars. And that fear was already growing. In spaceports across the galaxy, children whispered ghost stories of the Titan. They said its cannons could hear your heartbeat. They said its missiles chased you even into hyperspace. They said once the Titan saw you, there was no escape. None of these stories were true, but the galaxy did not care. They believed them. The first strike had ended. But its echo was louder than any battle. And deep in the void, hidden forges glowed brighter as humans built more. More ships, more weapons, more secrets waiting for their moment. The galaxy now understood. Humanity was not weak, not slow, not primitive. They were patient. They were dangerous. And they had only just begun. The strike that changed everything, the galaxy could not escape the shadow of the Titan. Every broadcast, every newsfeed, every whispered story in dark taverns carried its name. The Council tried to calm the panic, but their words sounded hollow. People no longer believed in their protection. They believed only in the fear of humanity's new weapon. But the final blow had not yet fallen. Weeks after the first strike, the Council gathered in emergency session. Delegates from hundreds of species filled the Grand Chamber, their voices rising with fear and anger. We cannot allow them to build more, one shouted. They must be stopped now, before the galaxy bends to them, cried another. They are too dangerous. They must be destroyed. But not all agreed. Some delegates trembled with uncertainty. If we attack again, will we survive? Can any fleet stand against the Titan? The chamber shook as arguments filled the air. And then without warning, the screens lit up. Every display in the council chamber, every comms tower across the galaxy, every private broadcast channel, all carried the same image. The Titan. The massive black warship floated in the void, its hull glowing faintly, its weapons humming with silent power. And then a human voice filled the stars. Calm, steady, unshaken. You mocked us. You laughed at our creation. You thought slow meant weak. But now you know the truth. In every corner of the galaxy, people froze to listen. Miners dropped their tools. Merchants silenced their markets. Soldiers held their breath. The human captain's voice continued. We did not build the Titan to chase you. We did not build it to show off. We built it for one purpose, to endure your fire and to deliver one strike so strong no enemy could rise again. The image shifted, showing wreckage from the first strike. Alien fleets reduced to ashes, their proud banners floating among the debris. This was your lesson, the voice said. You thought us weak. You thought us foolish. But we are neither. We are humanity. We do not need to strike twice. In the council chamber, silence fell. No one dared speak. Even the Saracen, once loud with scorn, kept his scaled head bowed. Then, the human voice gave the final message. We do not seek your planets. We do not seek to rule your people. But understand this. Mock us, threaten us, or raise your fleets against us again, and you will not survive the next strike. The broadcast ended. The screens went dark. For a long moment, the galaxy held its breath. Then the fear settled deeper than ever before. On border worlds, civilians whispered that humanity had become untouchable. Colonies questioned why they should pay taxes to a council that could not even protect itself. Merchants quietly shifted their trade routes toward human convoys, believing it safer. Even pirates swore oaths never to cross a human path again. The old order had cracked. In the void, the Titan drifted back into silence, its massive frame blending into the darkness. On its bridge, Captain Reese Hale stood quietly, his crew steady, around him. Do you think they will test us again, sir? An officer asked. Reese's eyes narrowed. No, not soon. Fear is faster than war. The crew nodded. No one cheered. No one celebrated. For humanity, this was not victory. It was only survival made stronger. But across the stars, the message was clear. The galaxy had mocked the slow human warship. The galaxy had laughed. And now, the galaxy would never laugh again.